Hello, my name is Gavin Cooney. I'm the founder and CEO of Learnosity. Joining me today is,
Hi, everyone. Michael Sharman, SVP of Product.
today we're here to talk about AI. It is such a revolution. 2023 is the year of AI. It's the biggest change in technology since the iPhone or the cloud or possibly the internet. There's massive applications in education. And we've been exploring this. We've been working on this for months. This is a massive launch for Learnosity. So many applications, you'll see them everywhere, and especially in education. We think we have a great place to start our AI journey, and that is around authoring. Massive amounts of authoring is done in Learnosity already. About a third of a billion, 337 million questions are in Learnosity, authored in Learnosity's format. They take time, cost money to go and build. What we want to do was introduce a tool that makes it easier and much, much quicker to create content. Not only that, but create better content with more learning opportunities within that. So we're here today to launch Author Aide. We're super proud of it. It's really, really great. And we're going to give you a demo right now. Sharmo, what do you think?
Absolutely. Look, you're right. It is a revolutionary part, and it's exciting to be a part of this. As Gavin said, creating assessment content, everybody needs to do, but it's very time intensive. So the remit for Author Aide is not to replace anyone creating content. It's to make your life easier, to give you more hours back in the day, more face time in front of students. So that's what we've been tackling. So right now, if you are a Learnosity customer, you have access to the Author Aide website. Now, on the top right-hand side, you'll see a button, Author Aide. Coming into here, we have a series of tasks that you're able to run that are AI powered. Now, this is a set of tasks that will absolutely increase over time. This is what we have at the moment. Let's go into multiple choice. Very, very common question type. Still, it's not going to go away. Everybody creates multiple choice.
About half of our questions are multiple choice. And as a company, we've basically tried to eliminate the multiple choice for the last 10 years. We've managed to make it about half of the questions in the item bank. It's still there. They're still pretty prominent. And as Michael said, we will be adding a lot more question types in here as we go forward. We already have multiple choice, true and false, and a drag and drop fill in the blanks question.
Absolutely. Now, what we have here, you'll be familiar with this. On the left side of the screen, you'll have our authoring experience. These are the APIs that you already know and you use every day. Right-hand side of the screen, this is Author Aide. Now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to, again, have a workflow that makes sense for you. So the first thing is, what are you trying to do as a content creator? Obviously, you need to come in and you want to create some assessment content. So we have some scenarios in mind. Firstly, maybe you've got just a general topic. It's something that you're doing in the classroom right now, or you're at a point in the semester where your students, your candidates are learning a particular topic, and that might be all you have. Fine, you can start with that. Alternatively, maybe you have an exact question. So the wording of the STEM, I know exactly what I want to ask, but I don't want to go and create all the possible responses. I want you to go and do that. So we can do that as a scenario. Thirdly, you might have specific source material to cover. Think of this as a passage potentially, or maybe it's some private content that you have in your curriculum. So there's an option there as well. Then the last one is something else in mind. This is more familiar as maybe an advanced way to lead us. Think of ChatGPT. If you've ever used that, I want to tell you what I want. So we're going to look at that in a moment as well. Okay, so I'm going to start with a general topic. Let's say I'm doing something with the sciences and I'm doing Newton's second law of motion. So I'm going to put that in there. Now, let's have a look at the other options just before I hit generate. With this general topic, I can additionally add source material if I have it. In terms of criteria, you might be teaching this particular point in time to a specific learning outcome, a state standard. So you can put something in there if you want. You can either put in a standard notation, we'll show you that in a moment, or you can put in a learning outcome, a descriptive learning outcome. Now, if you don't have that, maybe you want to put in a subject. Now, Author Aide is pretty smart. Sometimes you don't need to. In fact, often you don't need to put in a subject, but you can, depends how granular you want to get, depends on what the general topic is. Grade as well we can imply from the question, the general topic, a grade level. But if you have something quite specific that you want to target, you can put in a grade there. The whole idea is we're trying to ask you some simple prompts to help get a better outcome. The better the input, the better the outcome. We've also used Bloom's taxonomy and depth of knowledge. These frameworks are very, very common. You might be trying to create a question that is just straight knowledge. It's just recall, or you might be wanting to test some sort of evaluation. So we've got you covered here, trying to create assessment content specific to your scenario. Okay, after that, we have some mechanics around the question. Now, we happen to be on multiple choice. And as Gav said, we will be bringing on extra question types later on. For right now, multiple choice, most commonly you will see 4 possible responses, 1 correct answer and 3 distractors. So that's what the default is. But you can choose to extend that or reduce that if you want. Also, what if you want multi-select multiple choice, where you have checkboxes instead of radio buttons? You can do that here. Maybe I want 2 answers, maybe I want 3 answers. Finally, we think this is one of the very special things with Author Aide. We're going to show you this. This is where I want feedback included for each of the possible responses. Okay, we're going to leave the defaults. What we want is sensible defaults. So I've just have a general topic in here, and what I do is I hit generate question. What we've done now is we've wrapped up all the inputs you've given us. We've sent it to the backend, to the AI for generation, and we are creating a question right now. Okay, and in a matter of seconds, we have generated a question. You can see the question stem, which statement correctly describes Newton's second law of motion concerning force and acceleration. And then we have some statements there. Now, we've automatically highlighted the correct answer, and we've given feedback automatically generated as to why that is the correct answer. So that implies that you can try the incorrect answer, and you will also get feedback real time generated for you as to why this is incorrect. This is an essential part of the learning process for students. They might get a question wrong, but we want to show them, why did you get that wrong? Now, obviously, if this was in a high earth stakes end of semester style exam, you don't need to generate this feedback, or you don't need to show it. It's completely up to you. But this is a time intensive part of question generation, which is why we've added it into Author Aide.
That's a really great question, Sharmo. So we want to take this now. We want to tweak it. So let's use the panel on the right-hand side to request something. Why don't we ask for the generate question again and make it a scenario-based question that, say, a 12-year-old would understand. Let's just try that.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, so what we're talking about here is on the left-hand side, as we said, if you like the question, you've got some small changes, go ahead and edit. But if you like the question, but you want to tweak it, you want to refine it, we're talking context or scenario-based, as Gav suggested, you can do that from here. Let's do that.
So scenario-based, using a real example that a 12-year-old student will understand.
Okay, so I've put in my refinement instructions. Again, if you're familiar, if you've ever used or seen demos with ChatGPT, this is a style of interface. We want you to tell us, what do you want to do to refine this question? Then we regenerate. We take the question that was already generated, and we're going to add the refinement instructions for it. Again, in a matter of seconds, we're going to get a new question generated based on the original one using the refinement criteria that you mentioned. Okay, so now we have something that is relevant for a 12-year-old because that's the instruction we gave it. The question stem, imagine you're playing football. You apply a force to kick the ball into the goal. Speed and direction in which the ball moves towards the goal is determined by the force of your kick. Which of the following statements explains this scenario based on Newton's second law of motion? So it has done exactly what we've asked it. Now, let's say you're happy with this. You can now save this question. This question is now in your item bank. It took seconds. We started with a general topic. We didn't do anything else. We generated a question. In the example we chose on step 2, you have an optional step to refine that question. In this case, we asked it for a scenario-based question for a 12-year-old. It did exactly that. We like that. We've saved it. You can see we've automatically generated a title for you. So when you're looking for this item later, you can easily find it. Now, You can continue creating more multiple choice questions, a true false question, fill in the blanks, or you can translate. Okay, as we said, we're happy with that question. Let's do one other quick demo. Remember, when we showed you the panel, the Author Aide panel on the right-hand side, there are different scenarios. How do you want to start? Well, I want to try something different. I want to say, well, I've got some specific source material to cover. Now, in this case, we're going to use OpenStax, very, very common tool people use. And I'm going to go down there. I'm going to copy some material here about education in Finland. So I'm going to copy that text. I have to cover specific source material. This could be anything. You could have copied from a PDF, a web page, transcript of a video, lots of things you could add in here. I enter in my source material. Now, in this case, I'm going to choose Bloom's taxonomy application. I don't want straight recall. I want to test a little bit of critical thinking. As we did before, I could click Generate Question. We take all the prompts, the instructions that you've given us, in this case, it's source material. We send it to the server to generate a question. In a matter of seconds, we've got something back. Now, if a new country, for instance, country X, wanted to improve its education system based on Finland's approach, which of the following measures should it consider? So we've taken the content in the source material, we've generated an assessment question on it. As we did before, we've generated the feedback for the correct response and the 3 incorrect responses. Now, also, as we did before, we could refine this if we want. Now, we don't have to do this, but if we want to just make some tweaks, we can edit them here in real time. If we want to change the context of the question, we like the question, but change the context, then we can refine here. If we're happy as is, we can just save.
And let me see this question now in a different language.
Brilliant. Lots of our customers have this. They generate content in a language, often in English, but they also deliver the assessment content to another language. So we have a translate items task. These are all the tasks that we're opening up in Author Aide. If we chose the same question that we just generated, and we can define different languages to do translation. Spanish is very common. Why don't we choose Spanish? Now, what we're doing here is we're taking the question stem, all the possible responses, all the feedback that was generated, any metadata that you might have added as well, and we send that across for translation. We leave the tagging alone, but we duplicate that. We leave the title alone, but we duplicate that so you can find that later on. Now, what's come back is the item. As I said, the title is still in English because that's an authoring piece that you can find it later. But the question is translated into Spanish. If I go and edit that, you can see down below all the rationale, the feedback for the possible responses has also been translated. Now, let's say I'm happy with that. All I need to do, as I did before, is hit save. Now you have a Spanish version of that question in your item bank. That's 2 items generated in seconds using Author Aide.
Okay, so we've seen multiple choice in action here. I want to look at some of the other question types. Obviously, we are going to bring out more question types over the next few months, and this is going to be an iterative thing where we will be launching more features every month or so. Pretty excited about that part of it. But let's talk a bit more about other question types. We have a fill in the blanks drag and drop question. So let's have a bit of a demo of that. We would pick a topic there as well.
So fill in the blanks is one of our most common question types. Same as before, we have the authoring experience on the left-hand side ready for the generated question. On the right-hand side, we have Author Aide, slightly different now. Okay, so as before, with multiple choice, we ask you, well, what are you trying to do? You can have a general topic, an exact question, have some source material, or something specific to ask. In this case, I'm going to do a general topic again. And Gav, you're an island, so why don't we do something close to home? Let's do tourist attractions in Dublin. Now, the criteria, we've seen this before. You can specify a learning outcome or a standard, choose a grade. We're going to leave this alone. The last accordion dropdown is specific to fill in the blanks. The first one we saw, you could choose the number of multiple choice options, the number of correct responses. In this case, we can set the number of blanks. I'm going to say I want 3 blanks, and the number of possible options, I'm going to say I want 6 of them. Okay, as before, I generate question. We take all the instructions you've given us. In this case, it was pretty simple. Send it to the back end to generate a question. Again, in a matter of seconds. Dublin is renowned for its rich history and vibrant culture. Drag the appropriate attraction to complete the sentence. So we have our 6 possible responses. That's what I asked for. 3 drop zones. That's what I asked for. And this is our authoring experience. We're showing you what the correct answers, where they go. So I hope you can see the power of Author Aide here. In a matter of seconds, we've generated a fill-in-the-blanks question type, something that would ordinarily take maybe 10 minutes. You've defined your question stem, generated the template here, inserted the 3 drop zones, created 6 possible responses, and of course, defined which the correct responses were. This was a fictional example on tourist attractions in Dublin, but it could be anything. If it's private content or content that only you have, you can enter your own source material. If it's more open web questions, you can enter a topic, specific question stem. You can refine on step 2 as we've seen. So hopefully we've got whatever you're trying to do, we've got you covered.
One of the things I'm really excited about here is the roadmap. You're not buying into what we have right now. What you're buying into is what we're going to be building here over the next year and years. We're going to roll out new features over time. One of the things I'm pretty excited about is the refinement feature. Imagine taking your old human authored content and refining that, taking clones of items, taking an item and changing and say, give me a female protagonist in this item, change the example, change the level, change the reading level, use a different example, use a more friendly example for an X grade. The idea of batch creation of items. So create me 20 questions on this topic. Upload a whole textbook and say, generate me 1,000 questions on that for later review. The expanding question types is the other part. We're here now launching with 3 different question types, but that list will get much longer quite quickly.
Absolutely. All of those things are coming, including the ability to deliver Author Aide via an API. If you're a Learnosity customer who embeds our authoring API inside your platform, don't worry, we haven't forgotten about you. We will be delivering Author Aide via an API sometime early next year.
We are really open to customer feedback here, given the emergent nature of these AI-powered experiences. We want to know what you think of this. We want to know what it's like in real-life usage. We've had about a dozen or so customers use it and had phenomenal things to say about it. People are very, very excited about it. We think that it'll about 10x the output of an author, which gives way more time to create better content, add that learning, those learning opportunities within the content, and create more content over time. So if there's areas you think we should be tackling, please let us know. Otherwise, please reach out and get going on Author Aide as soon as you can. Thank you.
Definitely. If you're very interested, we hope in looking at this, reach out to your customer success manager. They will have all the information you need to get started. All right, Gav, it was great to talk to you. I'm excited about what we've got now, and I'm excited about what we've got coming in the next couple of months.
Thanks.